So here I am on a Wednesday night, and usually I do this for Bros Break It Down, where a bunch of guy friends, we all get together and we just break down the news of what's going on in like a dude kind of way. But I've been getting this message nonstop and it's Wall Street related, so I decided, you know what, why don't I break it down with a Wall Street perspective, a little bit of a crossover, modern Wall Street. And this is a topic that's been all over the internet, all over television, on Twitter galore. It's all about GameStop, and you guys probably want to know what is going on with GameStop. Well, with the amount of questions that I got about it, rather than answering and copy and pasting everybody, I figure it might be the best decision for me to put on the microphone in my pistachio Ron John t-shirt and give you guys a description as to what's going on. So if you want to find out the deal with GameStop, here's the deal. And you've got to follow this with me because it's a little complicated, but it makes total sense as to why GameStop is soaring so much. So let's talk about GameStop first. GameStop, as we all know, it's a retail shop for video games, brick and mortar, and technically any brick and mortar shop, especially with COVID, is a method of business, a setup that should be obsolete. You know, people are now buying games digitally. They're not lining up outside to get the new releases. There's no need to go in store. And hell, you can even buy GameStop games online and not even go to the store, so it's kind of a dying model. So here's the reason why GameStop is on the upside, and this is where Reddit is tied in, because a self-described activist short seller, and that's nothing more than a man, an investor who's betting that the stock is going to go down, he comes out to say that GameStop is technically trash, it's obsolete, and that it's something that belongs in the past, and I'm going to short the living heck out of it. I'm going to short GameStop because it shouldn't be here. Now, Reddit, and the Reddit subreddit is called Wall Street Bets. They're a combination of, young people, young gamers, and young day traders. They get word of this guy, and they don't like him, they don't like what he's saying, and they literally are now going to go out of their way and make an example of him. They're going to use the internet to teach this guy a lesson. So what did they do? They sparked a rally by buying GameStop stock. They bought so much that the price continued to climb. Now, on the other hand, you got to take this into consideration. You're like, well, how can this group buy so much that it affects him? It didn't affect him. There was a lot of buying going on. And that gentleman, the activist short seller, he had a lot of people that listened to him. And they too took a lot of short selling positions because they believed GameStop was going to tank. And that's how short selling works. You have to take an open position by selling and then close your position by buying. You must do both sides. Both must happen. So these people, they managed to sell really high, hoping to watch it drop. And then they hope to close out their position by buying it at some basement rate, some really low rate, maybe even pennies. But here's the problem. The price wasn't going down because those users on Reddit, they kept pushing the price higher and higher. And as the price continued to rise, these people now know that technically they're screwed, as their buying point, their end position, would cost them a lot more than they sold for, and that would be quite a hefty loss. In other words, before they incur more losses, they've got to cut their losses now. So now there's technically a ton of people buying. You've got the people trying to get out of their sell positions by buying, and then you have all the other people buying as well. So guess what? The stock continues to rise because buying has now technically doubled. You've got both sides buying. You have the closed position gentleman trying to buy to get out of the position, and you have the people still buying to teach the activist short seller a lesson. GameStop explodes. It rallies, it surges, hundreds of percent, right? And that's not the end of it. There's another reason why GameStop is soaring, and let's discuss Wall Street Bets and a specific user. His name is Roaring Kitty. I had to do the research on this. Roaring Kitty announced back in the summer, back in the summer, before all this happened, that he decided to put his entire life savings of $50,000 into GameStop. And his rationale was pretty good. He had good reasoning, some logic. He said that GameStop is one of the most, if not the most, shorted company, but it may be a little too much. GameStop does indeed have value. People still buy video games. It has a new CEO, and that they could turn it around. Now, he took these thoughts and he shared it on his own YouTube platform, his own videos. And of course, he took those videos and he shared it on Reddit. Now, while on Reddit, some of these Reddit users, they were made aware of this video, and they kind of said on the side, let's make this man rich for having faith. and let's buck the trend of this notorious activist short seller. Technically, screw this guy. And literally, he took his $50,000, and I think as of yesterday, he took $50,000 and turned it into $15 million. Something around there. That's quite the profit. And then now there's this bit of news, which shocked even myself when I read it. The activist short seller, constantly being harassed, by the way. People were even giving him death threats, and he literally said, I'm done. I'm now talking to the FBI, I'm speaking to the feds, I'm not going to discuss short selling ever again, and I'm getting out of my position. Which again means, in order to get out of his position, he sold, so now he's got to buy. But the buy price is so high, he's forced to buy at an even higher price. And then you got the Reddit users still buying even more, which in turn led the way for yet another surge in GameStop. So if you could follow that, that's literally what's happening. And let's use our heads here. Let's use some common sense, right? There's nobody right now lining up outside GameStop. And shorting a company like GameStop, well, quite frankly, makes a lot of logical sense. But the entire saga has proven one thing. Throw common sense out the door. If the internet doesn't agree with you, if the internet doesn't like you, and if the internet teams up with you, you're screwed. In other words, welcome to 2021. That's the entire GameStop saga as described by myself. Try my best to put as many thoughts possible together, but I want to, to speak off the cuff, keep it real with you. I know it sounds like a fake story, but it's not. It's playing out as we speak, and well, that's all you need to know, because that's all I can tell you right now. Hope you enjoyed it. For Modern Wall Street, I'm James Swinney.